Why? They have spoiled the eyes. There's no real exercise for the eyes. They are not using the eyes in the proper way. And I would suggest to every student that every 10-15 minutes, just gaze into some distance for about 1 minute. If you are doing in a laptop or iPad or something at home or even inside the class, just gaze into the distance, some distant object for about 1 minute. Your eyes should get used to that type of thing. And also your brains always give something relaxation, try to do something what you like, some games or something. When I say games, not the video games, but physical games, or listen to some music. That sort of relaxation to your brain is also very important. So that will really help you to keep you healthy. And like I said, you have to sleep for minimum 7 hours, then your immune system will really work well. Then it will ensure that you have a good physical well-being. Yes.
All right, doctor. So what are the actions that can potentially threaten our health or the health of others?
Now, when you say health of others, or you mean our health or health of others?
Yeah, our health as well as others' health.
Okay, our health, what happens is, now see, I told like I said, the machine life. You don't have a proper first thing is you don't have a proper sleep. I have explained to you earlier why it's important to have a balanced life, sleep, 7 hours sleep. That when that is neglected, that will definitely lead to problem. The second is our food eating habits. Now, if you see those days, we had a balanced diet. Our parents prepared food at home. They had a certain menu. Breakfast they had this, lunch they had this. Even lunch they had so many curries or whatever it is. There was a blend of the curries. Green leaves, then vegetable. They had this, malung, all sorts of things. Now
it was all natural.
Yes. Now what happens is even what is available in the market is all chemical. I mean, with the pore and all those things, naturally there is some amount of chemicals are there. Apart from that, we have got to choose this fast food. Even the children, parents have taught this now. See, my wife was teaching at Royal College, so I used to, when I go to drop her, the children come and get down from the car, parents' car, they give pocket money and they come and first thing is they go into the tuck shop and buy this, this, what do you call this, sausage bun, that bun, this bun, and they eat, in a hurry. And even the school bag, our days we used to carry the school bag. Now even that they don't carry, they just drag it and go. So what happens is, there's thing called obesity. People have become fat, obese, we call it obese. So these wrong eating habits. One thing is we are eating all junk food, not the balanced diet, what is really good for our health. And there is no proper eating time. When you say breakfast, you must have breakfast at least by 8 o'clock. And if you say lunch, you must have at least by 1 o'clock. And you say dinner before 8. So what happens is, whether it is student or parents or anybody, now what happens is breakfast sometimes they don't have the breakfast at home, they come and eat some junk food out. So if they're having breakfast, sometimes they have it at 6 o'clock or 5:30 before they leave. Even that is something, it's okay. If you can eat, fine. Sometimes what they do, parents make some food which is easy to take. So what they have, I have seen so many students having some of these, these sandwiches with cheese and that is hamburger. They call it submarine, that sort of, junk food inside the bag. When they are coming in the school van, they are having it. So food, what they have for breakfast, everywhere, I would say the breakfast is totally a junk. Totally a junk. Then lunch, they don't bring from home. The two factors. Number one is they feel shy to bring. A lot of students, they feel shy, to carry this and go like, like game means again. That sort of attitude has come in now. They think that only the game means only carry these things and come. Now we are all posh people, we don't carry these things and come, so they don't bring a lunch. So either they have some junk food outside for lunch, or they go back home after school and have it around 2:30 or 3. So what happens is your eating habits are totally gone disarray. So when you have your lunch at about 2:33, then you have your dinner at 9:30, 10. Then you sleep at 11. So the eating habit, which is the most important thing in anybody's life, why we struggle so much in life is to have 3 meals. We call it the 3 square meals. That is the main thing in anybody's life. So when that aspect, if we can't have it properly, if we can't plan it properly and have it properly, then you become sick. So children, that is a very important aspect. Please concentrate on your meal. Don't eat the junk food. Try to tell your parents to make some decent, the best thing is in the morning, some sort of some fruits and some, protein like the mungata or this kadale or something or cowpea, something, those things which are really good, some protein things which are good, not this bread and cheese and, bread is the worst thing that the palm piti or the wheat flour, the polished wheat flour is the worst thing that is happening in our country. Exceptionally once in a way you eat a piece of bread, just like it, the taste of it, sometime when you have a bread with dal and the polsambol is really, you feel like in heaven. The real polsambol with lime mixed polsambol and the dal curry, our Sri Lankan style, that is really, you feel like in heaven. But you can't be in heaven every day. You have to come down to earth. You have to come down to earth frequently. If you stay in heaven, then you are going to be in trouble. So best thing is for students is when you decide on your food, don't eat this junk food. Don't eat anything made out of this wheat flour. That is these rolls, patties, all these pastries are all junk food. And you know that it is now mixed with it is fried in this oil. We don't know what is the oil they are using. Even oil, do you know that the oil, if you use it for more than 2-3 times, it becomes poison. That oil is not good for consumption, but you don't know shop fellows how many times they are frying it. So you can't go and check it. So you just take it for granted, thinking that they are doing a good job. But unfortunately, our country, we have a lot of dishonest people. They only think of the money part of it, the income part of it, and they don't care about what the health of the others. And, I don't want to discuss about things what you already know. We are hearing so many things. So people, when they are thinking only about earning money, they are not thinking about the health of others. So we have to safeguard our health. Prevention is better than cure. My father used to tell me, prevention is better than cure. So if we are careful in our eating habits, if we can plan our day, when I say plan our day, have your breakfast at home or take some breakfast, decent balanced diet, little bit of protein, some fruits. That's how we ate those days. And some milk, and take it and have it either in the school or before going, plan it the day, have it. Then lunch also, if possible, take your lunch and come. Don't feel shy to bring it. Don't feel shy to eat it in the presence of others. If you can eat junk food in the presence of others, in the presence of so many people, I see, like I told you when I go to the Royal College, so many people are there. Thousands of people are there, but they come and just buy it and they just gobble it. So when you can do that, why can't you sit inside your class and eat a decent lunch brought from home, a balanced diet? Without fail, you must have a mellung, you must have some protein dal or something, then some leafy vegetables. Carrot is good for your eyes, carrot is something very good for eyes, beans, things like that. All these things are very important. So that type of lunch on time is important, and your dinner also, have it on time. And in between, if you feel tired, have a glass of milk. So particularly for students, planning your day properly and having a proper meal, balanced diet is very important for your physical health. And when you are healthy only, you can become a good citizen. When you are healthy, you can study well, do your exam well, get into a good job, and you can serve the country and the society at large. So if you fall sick, you can't do that. And if you fall sick, you are going to make your parents also sick. When you are sick, your parents, now because the parents are also in such a hurry, they have no time. If you say I am sick, it annoys them. What is this? Why can't you do some, that sort of reaction only comes. And even if you go to hospitals and see, most of the time, children, eye problem. When you go to the eye hospital and see, we go to any hospital, eye clinics, so much of people. Malnutrition, another thing, malnutrition, because there is no proper balanced diet. When you say take a blood count, you see the blood, the red cells are low, hemoglobin is low. That is because they don't have a proper balanced diet. So then you can become sick. So you must understand that if you have a good physical health only, you can achieve the other things. If you are sick and if you are not physically fit, how much you may study, how much you may do well in your studies or anything, whatever it is, ultimately the end result will be you will not be able to enjoy your life properly if you are not healthy. Okay.
Okay, doctor. So, according to explanation, it's clear that not only mental and physical well-being we should consider about. There is another important part called economic well-being. How would you describe this aspect?
Yes, this economic well-being, because if you don't have money, you are nowhere in this world.
Yeah.
How much you may be educated, if you don't have money, you are nowhere. Now, yesterday I read, I heard in a video a true story of a very popular poet in India. Once he went outstation for some program and he went, and when he went, his purse was robbed by a pickpocket. So he went into a hotel, had a meal, and when he tried to pay, he found his purse missing. So when he told the hotel manager that purse is missing, he said, "We have heard this before, but these things happen." And the standard procedure, it happened in India, the Indian hotels, but they do. I don't know about Sri Lanka. I have no personal experience. But India, the famous thing is they ask you to work in the kitchen. They'll ask you to grind this one or peel the onions or things like that. They ask you to work in the kitchen. So this man said, I had my purse, it is missing. He said there were about 70, 80 people. So the hotel manager was so annoyed, he told, "You look like a decent fellow, you are an elderly man, you are trying to bluff me." And sometimes what they do in India, sometimes they can become nasty. He asked him to remove his shirt. So this man, he removed the shirt and he said there are about 70, 80 people watching, none of them, and he said it was only 2 rupees at that time, it happened about 30, 40 years back. He said only 2 rupees. None of them came forward to give a hand to that old man and to say, "Don't do it, I will pay." Then after he removed the shirt, in India they have a habit, they wear this, national dress, the vesti and the shirt, and inside the vesti they have a shorts. So then he asked him to remove the vesti also. Then this man was shocked and in disbelief. At that time, one fellow on the road who looked like a real dirty fellow, not unkempt hair, and you can't say him as a decent guy. He came and said, "No, don't do it." And he gave the 2 rupees to that hotel Mudalali and told, "Don't do it." And he took this old man to a side and said, "You have to be very careful when you come to an outstation. People, they rob you." And he showed him some purses. "Here, can you find your purse here?" To see his purse was there. So that fellow felt, he had empathy. That pickpocket fellow, when he saw this incident, he had empathy that because of me only, this thing is happening to that man, and he really came forward and gave that 2 rupees and saved him. But he said the others, about 70, 80 people who were there, nobody came forward for an elderly man, old person. So this is the type, when you have no money, then you are nowhere, right? Whether it is any country, whether it is Sri Lanka, anywhere, if you don't have money, you are finished. So that is why this economic well-being is very, very important in our life. Right? Only thing is, it should be something sort of a balanced approach. Sometimes I know there are so many people, like I told, I retired at 55, but I thought was, what I have is enough, contented, but I have is enough. This is enough for me, because we fail to understand that how much money we may have. We may have millions and millions. We can only eat only 3 times a day. We can't eat more than that. Maybe you can have a a snack or something in between. That's all. And that also you can eat up to the amount that your stomach can hold. Just because you have so much of good food, you can't eat 2 plates. You can eat only 1 plate of rice. So we must understand that. That is number one. Number two is how much money we have and what a big villa or bungalow we have. We can sleep only on 1 bed. You can sleep only on 1 bed. Just because you have 10 rooms and massive bungalow, you don't go and 1 hour you sleep in this room on this bed, then you go to the other room and sleep there. You don't do like that. So the contentment part is very important, and also we have to strike a balance about the amount of money what we require. What we require, certain amount you must have, and you must always, income should be distributed, they say. There are so many people outside. I am not boasting about myself. I give a very big portion of my income for charity purpose. I give for a lot of students to study, sick people I buy medicine and give, because what I feel is what I have is enough. The extra what I have, I like to share. Only concern that I personally have is that I should not fall sick. And another thing is we as a Buddhist or Hindus or any religion, we really know that there's a God. And if we do good things in life, bad things will not happen to us. So we must have that confidence that when we are doing good things, that you will not have any serious illnesses. And only thing is, if you fall sick, you must have Sri Lanka, particularly if you fall sick, you must have a certain amount of money in the bank balance to meet that expenses, because most of us, another trend in our lives is most of us, we shun these government hospitals. Straight away, we go to a private hospital. Another thing is the health system in Sri Lanka is that people, they just decide whom to go and what to do. Now, other countries, you have to go through a general practitioner GP system where he will decide where to go. Now, Sri Lanka, what happens? You have a headache, you imagine. We call it hallucination. You imagine that you have some problem in the brain. Then you immediately go to a neurologist. You channel a neurologist, pay about 2,000 rupees. He will look at it and say, I say, must be your eyesight something wrong, or maybe you have a little headache because of this bad weather. It's a matter of small problem which can be handled by a general practitioner or rather an average doctor. If you have a small pain in the leg, say knee, you have a small problem, immediately you go and channel the orthopedic surgeon. If you have a stomach pain or something, you immediately go and channel a surgeon. So that type of, when you have money, we are doing sometimes unnecessary expenses. If you take and see, we do so much of unnecessary expenses. So this economical well-being, when you have too much money, or rather you are doing well, you try to do unwanted things. So, but what you should do is, you have to do a cost and value analysis. Whenever you are spending some money, I always tell people, do a cost and value analysis. When you spend this money, see what is the value you are getting. So another thing is, we should not compare ourselves. Now see, I have a television, or I have a laptop, or I have a refrigerator. If that is serving my purpose, I should be happy with that. Just because my neighbor or my friend, you go to a friend's house, you see that, double door fridge, or there are fridges now, like the size of a bureau, like an almirah. They say so much of things, but yeah, you have family, you have only 3, average families nowadays, only 2 children, maximum 2 children. So only 4 people at home. You buy that, that 4-door or that almirah like fridge. It caters for a big family, and that there you can keep it for months. But are you going to keep food for months and eat the junk, the old stale food? No. So we have an average small fridge that will serve your purpose. So when you try to compare with others, and what happens? You try to spend money. So your economic well-being is affected by that. Most of the time, I always tell people that call it impulse buying, impulsive buying, where you see something, you feel, that food is having, I must have it. Comparison and impulsive buying, that should be stopped. And another thing is, we must plan our expenses also. We must have a plan, from our salary, how much to spend, how much to save. Definitely you must have a certain amount of savings. And other thing is, I always tell people, I got students, of course, when you start working, when you become professional, learn to have a life insurance policy. With insurance policy, when you have, it's a compulsory saving without your knowledge. You are saving some money without your knowledge, automatically it's going. And at the young age, you need not have a medical policy. You can have a life policy. It's an investment. You go on paying it. When you retire, you have a big money. You know, that's what happened to me. You know, when I retired, I had, honestly, I had about 15, 20 policies which matured, and I got a good sum. You know, I was paying from my salary without my knowledge. It goes. You put a standing order, bank standing order, it goes. So you have to plan your expenses. You know, budget it properly, and you must have the budget for unexpected. You know, sometimes you have a wedding or something, or somebody falls sick or something we have to. So these are known as contingencies. So you must have a contingency fund system in your family life also. Even as students, you can learn to save. You know, I know definitely a lot of parents give pocket money. Even during our time, this pocket money was something unheard of. They never gave pocket money. Only thing is, I remember my parents used to give money for the bus fare. So what we do is, those days we never had the junk food and that type of things we had. We took our food and went. Maximum maybe once in a way we like to have this, you know, these things called popsicles, this ice, this one, popsicle. That was 5 rupees, sorry, 5 cents. So what we do is, you get down to bus halls from your home, then you save the 5 cents, you buy the popsicle, eat that and walk. So you are getting an exercise also for your body. You are satisfying your happiness, you get that mental happiness or whatever it is. So that's that type of thing. So a lot of people, children now get pocket money. You can try to save, learn to save. This habit now itself, you can, there are school, I know there are every school, they have these banks, school banks, they have units you have, you can save money, you get used to that. Thrift quality is very important in our life. That is our culture, our country culture. You must learn to be, how to be thrifty, you must know. So that is very important. Avoid impulsive buying, and also don't try to compare yourself with others, and do a cost and value analysis. Then you have a real, what you call, economic well-being. Yes.
Okay, doctor. So does technological progress make people feel happier?
Technological progress, actually, it has become part and parcel of our life. You know, now see, I am talking to you. Despite the COVID, I am addressing your students. I think, how many numbers? Is more than 1,000 or 2,000? How many?
Yeah, it's more than 1,000.
Okay, so I am able to do that from my home. That is technological advance. The technological advance also should be used in the correct way. You know, what happens is, sometimes technology, it's like, you know, giving a sword in the monkey's hand. You give it to the wrong monkey, it can go and cut the people. So technological advance is very, very important in our present context. It helps us to improve our knowledge. Even earlier, honestly, I never used a smartphone up to about 2 years back. I didn't use a smartphone. Laptop, of course, I used, but never a smartphone. But after I started using a smartphone, I find it very easy and useful, because when I'm on the move, when I suddenly get a call from somebody for some payment, I immediately do it from my smartphone. So technological advance is really useful to us. Only thing is, we must know how to use it properly. If we use it in the wrong way, and you know with this internet and all, how people are getting distracted to wrong paths and how people fall into trouble, social media, you know, Facebook and all these things, TikTok, Facebooks, you fall into unwanted trouble. There are so many people who have fallen in trouble. You know, there are people arrested. You know, I read in papers, with Facebook, they have organized these functions, parties, things like that. People can go in the wrong path. Main important thing is parental guidance is very important, and it's not good to give smartphones to small children as a play object. Just to make the child stop crying, they give this smartphone. That's not good. So technology is definitely good for us. It gives us more knowledge, more advantage to deal with our day-to-day life. We can learn a lot of things. Now we go look, those days we had to go and ask the parents. No, children have to come and ask the parents, Tati, what is this, Tati, but now they don't ask. No, they just go to Google and type it and immediately they get the answer. Now, when we are struggling, they will tell, "Ayyo, what is this? Wait and tax," they will tell. So that's good. Technology is good in the correct way and in the correct context under supervision. Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So how does income uncertainty influence the well-being of individuals?
Yes. Now see, after this COVID, there was so much of uncertainty. It happened suddenly. It's, nobody expected COVID to strike like this. Who expected? Now see, our entire lifestyle is totally devastated. No, we can't go anywhere out. We can't go to people. We can't go and visit parents, visit relations. But this one important thing that taught us a certain good thing is how to feel for others and to share your blessings with others. Now see, those days I used to go to the supermarket and buy things. Now during the COVID time, to the doorstep, small traders, they brought and gave things. So even after the COVID now, generally things are overall it's good. Still certain things now, for vegetables, coconut, and this melon, and this kira man, the coconut man, and the vegetable, there's a woman. I told my wife, don't worry, buy from them. Maybe little expensive, but we are giving them a livelihood. They are going to live, whatever we buy from them, they get some income, they are going to live, and they are blessing us. That man, I remember the coconut man was telling Matya, Hari Santosai. Because he knows that I can go to supermarket and buy less, but still they are happy. We have to feel for others. That empathy part must play in. So this COVID has created that sense of empathy to a certain extent. We are feeling for others. Another thing is it has taught us the importance of being ready to face a contingency. Like what I said earlier, I told you about this contingency fund. A lot of families, our lifestyle in Sri Lanka was most of the time, but kapala, bipala, jolly karpala, they say in Sinhala. So we used to eat, drink, and we are happy. It's not that. We must learn to be thrifty. I told the thrift habit of saving some money for contingency. So that type of thing is very important. So if we had that type of preparedness, we would have been able to face it in the proper way. And not only that, we learned some other habit also. That is where we can stop indulging in unwanted things. I know there are so many people those days they go to these restaurants and have meal outside and do that and this and all. Now they have got used to staying at home. So this unwanted spending has stopped to a certain extent, great extent. It has stopped. It has taught us a lesson. This unwanted, and that we can be without it. Those days we thought that we can't do that. We can't cook at home and eat, or we can't eat this food or that type of thing. That has gone. So it has taught us some good lessons also. That one thing is about the preparedness. Second thing is about this contingency fund. Third is about how frugal or thrifty we should be. And the fourth thing is how we should be able to share with others and have empathy for others. And the fifth is about our priorities. We must prioritize what is important and spend only for those. So when we have our income is affected, we must stop certain unwanted expenditure. What we have been doing earlier, we have to stop. So we have to get used to that type of frugal. We call the frugal living. So if we can do that, we can cope up with this without any problem. Of course, definitely, initially you would have felt very bad. How can you do like this? How can I eat like this? How can I eat at home on this? That initially there will be anything resistance for change. People always forget that change is something which is something always happening. So we should be always prepared for a change, and this type of change we have to get used to it. And if we can adjust to that change and adapt our lives, we can simply overcome that.
Okay. I think we are now coming to the most important discussion of the day, as we are about to talk about emotional well-being. What is emotional well-being?
Yeah, emotional well-being is, like what I said, most of the time we always act in impulsive manner, emotional manner. when somebody is, say, for example, when somebody suddenly your child is sick or something, don't panic. Now, what happens is when a child nowadays, because people have the facility, people have the money, they, like I said, no, immediately you rush to a specialist. You immediately take the child and go to a, what do you call this, pediatrician, and they will give a, and they'll say, no, don't worry, this is just a. So get used to, first thing is you must take stock of what is happening. You must not panic. Any situation, people should learn to analyze things in the correct context without panicking and without being emotional. Even any problem, now see, even exams, when you have a result that you expected didn't happen, don't be emotional. Of course, you must understand that you have done your best. But if you expected 90 marks and got only 80 marks, don't worry about it. Don't be emotional about it and go and sit in a corner and without eating and emotional. And there are, you would have heard, no, there are some students who have committed suicide after these results. When the results come, GCO level results come, people have committed suicide. And that is madness. Yeah. You should not be emotional. The main thing is you must understand that you have done whatever things you do, think carefully, like that's what I said, plan it, do well, do things properly in the proper way, and do your best. But beyond that, if something happens, you must learn to take it in the correct spirit. So emotionally deciding things. Now, even children, as small children, you should not be emotional. Sometimes there may be times your parents are a little upset. Don't become emotional. So you must understand, during these COVID times, sometimes families, parents are very emotional. They get in parents. Sometimes they have arguments. Father and mother, they may have arguments. Children are feeling emotional and out of place. So those things you must understand that these things, any problem, we must sit and analyze and see whether I can sort it out. When you have a problem, there are only two solutions. One is you have a problem that you can solve it. Okay, fine. You adapt that strategy, whatever you can to solve the problem. Then the problem is solved. Other thing is certain problems you can't solve. So you have to learn to live with it. Right? So that is that. Now see, a lot of people those days, now we used to go out and do. Now we are not going out. So we are seated inside home. So now see, main thing is even children, very important. Just because you are inside the house, don't stop any physical activity. At least do something, walk inside the house. At least about half an hour. Just walk inside the rooms. You can walk in the shape of 8, even in a small space. You walk in the shape of 8 shape, north and south. You walk from north to south in the shape of 8 inside a small room. This is what I do. 45 minutes I am doing daily. So when you do that, actually the north-south, the south pole and north pole, it creates a lot of reaction in our body, and you are giving an exercise to your body as well as doing something to your system also. So you have to never get upset over things and throw tantrums or neglect your food or neglect your studies. So just take it cool. You call it, take it. They call it with a pinch of salt. And emotional well-being is something where you have to accept realities. There are things that you can change, you must try to change. Things which you cannot change, you have to accept and go with it. And you must have the, they call it the serenity prayer. You must, if you can't change or do something, you have to go with that. And you must have the wisdom or the knowledge or the intelligence to analyze and understand what are things you can change and what are things you cannot change. So you have to get used to that. So emotional well-being is very, very important. When you say emotional, don't become a prisoner of your emotions. Emotions are important. Emotions are important. You can feel happy, sad, of course, but it should not be the whole time. You must allow it to control you. Emotion should not control you all the time. Your intelligence should surpass or overcome these emotions, and you must apply your intelligence to overcome the emotions and to lead your life or your day-to-day studies or whatever you are doing. You should be able to handle it. Yes, please.
Okay. What is the best way to improve our emotional well-being?
Main thing is, like what I said, you must understand realities. We must know, when you look at the life of others. See what is happening. Now see, when we fall sick, we panic. Now see, go to the people on the street children. They are eating the food on the street. They are not washing their hands. They are just eating the dirty hands. Nothing happens. So that is because they don't think too much like us. Don't try to imagine things. You know, if something happened, my God, whether I'm going to fall sick or whether I'm going to do that or do this or what is going to happen to me. Don't over imagining too much is the main reason for our problem. So that's why I always say, accept realities. See the ground situation, study the ground situation, study the situation what you are in, see how best you can handle it and go with it and get guidance. If you feel that, you know, you have some problem where you want to discuss with someone, unfortunately in Sri Lanka, I'm sorry to say, the psychological part, a lot of people don't know that. Actually, I am a psychologist. I am trying to create an awareness, but unfortunately, I give so much of publicity because I am not doing for money purpose. You know, in fact, I don't demand fee from people. I just say if you can afford it, okay. Otherwise, I do free. So, but unfortunately, people don't get guidance from psychology. The psychological part, psychological counseling and psychological part is not well known in Sri Lanka. Because of that, you go on your emotion, you try to bury it in your mind until it erupts like a volcano. So don't do that. When you have a problem, discuss with someone, your parents, or that's what I said. You said good friends, parents. Only thing is you should go to the correct people and get the correct guidance. You go to the wrong man and get the wrong guidance. Now there are, say, particularly young children. You go, you know, those who are in the A levels and things like that. People in the higher classes, you go to friends, and some people say, okay, don't worry, we'll have a bottle of beer and everything is okay. Don't do that. So you have to go to the correct person, get the correct advice. My advice to anybody, children, particularly children, is when you have a problem, talk to your parents. Definitely your mother or father, you will be somebody you are very attached. Now my son is very attached to his mother. I was always working outstation, going out. So the mother he discusses. So even now he is married and settled down, but still every day mother and son they talk, and the daughter-in-law they talk. So I don't interfere. So that type of rapport with your parents is because your parents are your first line of protection for you. Trust them fully. Trust your parents. Get their guidance, and always trust your parents to share your problems. Never hide anything from your parents. I always tell people, don't hide things. If you have made a mistake, well, you have done a mistake. Your parents aren't going to kill you for that. Maybe they may scold you. Of course, it's okay. You just listen. If you make a mistake, if they scold you, just listen. Can't help it. And they are not going to let you down. No. After that, they'll scold you. And after that, they will try to find some solution for you. So that's the best way. Get guidance from your parents. If you feel that you don't have that sort of support, have a guidance from a friend. Otherwise, you can reach people like me. Even I am always available. I am not looking for money, so I am always reachable. I approach Amindri also. I give my details. Students or anybody can talk to me. When I am free, I will definitely talk to them. So that sort of, you know, the counseling or wise counsel those days. That's why those days your grandparents were living with us. We always go to the grandparents. Unfortunately, now grandparents are not there now. Grandparents are in the Gama because we are all in town. Grandparents are in the Gama, or in a lot of family, grandparents are in the elders' home. So we have lost that aspect or that avenue for our children to get wise counsel. But anyway, still, your parents are your best friends. Be like that. Be close to your parents. Never hide and do anything behind your parents. Because I know a lot of children, those who have fallen into trouble, I find that they have been doing things behind their parents' back. Don't do it. Before you do something, I told you, always ask your conscience whether what I am doing is right or wrong. Definitely your conscience will tell whether it is right or wrong. It will tell. Nobody can tell. It doesn't tell. It will definitely tell you. So when your conscience is wrong, don't do it. Don't try to experiment wrong things just for the sake of experimenting, because definitely you will fall into trouble. And as students, this is not the time to do experiments. Anything you have doubts, you go and ask your parents. Ask to clarify from them. Don't try to experiment on your own, and be very close to your parents and be friendly with them, discuss with them, treat them like your friends, and have that sort of rapport with your parents, because your parents are definitely, whatever is done and blood is thicker than water, they will definitely stand by you. If you make a mistake, they may, like I said, they may scold you. That the scolding is only for that minute. After that, they are not going to every day going to scold you. So if you make a mistake, accept it. If you have some doubts, go and speak to your parents. So that should be the approach in your life, particularly when you are students. Always be very close to your parents and don't hide anything. Don't do anything wrong where your conscience says that is wrong. So that will help you to maintain a good emotional balance in your life.
Great. Another important question, how can we help someone with depression or anxiety?
Yeah, when you have a depression or anxiety, the main reason is they are worried about something. The worry is the main problem. They are worried about some situation or some incident or something, something, whether about some problem in the office or some problem in the school or whether some problem with somebody. So when in such a situation, don't just sit in a corner and allow it to eat deep into your mind. The idle mind is the devil's workshop, they say. So when you are sitting alone and trying to ponder over it, you are not going to overcome it. So when you have some anxiety or depression, you feel depressed or anxious, like I told you, the first line of support is your parents. Whoever is very close to you, mother or father, go and talk to them and tell mom or dad, I have this problem, can you? So if they are so busy, sometimes some families, both parents are so busy, they say, so in such a case, you must always, there's a place called Sri Lanka Sumitra in Horton Place where they listen to your problem. So I am available. I can always help people. Anybody with stress, anybody with anxiety, anybody with any depression, you can always call me. I'll guide you. And don't just keep quiet, because it will definitely, it's like a cancer. It will eat into your cells, it will eat into your mind, and it will make you to do unwanted things which will land you in big trouble. So it's only a small problem which you can overcome. Sometimes you think that it's a very big problem because of your age. You think that it's a very big problem, but with guidance, proper guidance and proper counseling and proper support from your parents or some elders or person like me, you will find that it's a small matter. So that is the best thing. Don't keep quiet. Don't go on thinking on your own. Get the help. Best thing is your parents. If you can't, you find your parents are too busy, some relative even, some nowadays you have the phones and all, everybody has a mobile phone, you speak to your grandparents. Your grandparents have a lot of wisdom. Unfortunately, that system is gone now. You don't have that much of rapport with your grandparents, but develop that. Once in a way, call them and speak to them, and even grandparents, they are very fond of the grandchildren. Grandparents, the grandchildren are their lives. So definitely parents will help you. Your parents will help you. If the parents don't help, the grandparents will help you, or some very close relative will help you, or good friend will help you, failing which you can approach people like us, professional psychologists.
Right. Yeah. Moving on to a different part of our discussion, can you explain us what is the role of ethics in a person's life?
Yes. If we don't have ethics, then no point in living, When we live, we have to have ethics. That is a foundation for our life. If we are just going to live without any ethics, we will be like animals. But unfortunately, now animals are more ethical and more disciplined than us. Right? Now you see this on the pedestrian crossings, I have seen dogs crossing on the pedestrian crossing. I have seen these cattle, these stray cattle waiting and going on the pedestrian crossing by observing. Nobody teaching them to do that, but they are by observing, they are learning. But what we do, we look this side, that side. When there are no vehicle, we jump. Our life has become so hasty. We are in a machine, like I said, machine life. We want to do everything quickly. And we don't think of this. Nobody. If the policeman is not there, in the red light, we jump. If we see the policeman only, we stop. It's very common. Educated people, everybody doing. And when somebody does that, if you go and tell somebody when they do a wrong thing, they get angry. Now, you see, I don't know whether you all know, somewhere about 6-7 years back in Kandana, one person jumped in front of a vehicle. That person stopped the vehicle and scolded him. I said, why are you jumping like this? You are not very careful. Maranda the other, he used that word. That fellow got angry, went to somewhere. There was a fisherman with the knife. He took the knife and came and stabbed this person. He died. People have no ethics. So if you don't have ethics, what happens is our purpose of living is totally out. That's why the religion has taught us ethical life. We must have ethics, and these ethics have been taught from religion by our parents. But unfortunately, again, the time spent by parents with the children is becoming very less and less and less. So this ethical type of living, that guidance, children are unable to get it properly. That's the main reason. Sometimes even youngsters nowadays, they behave in such a way because they have not been guided properly about ethics in life. So ethics are the foundation of our life. Without a foundation, you build any amount of building, it can collapse. So if you don't have ethics in our life, it's not going to be a good life. So that is very, very important. We must know what is right and what is wrong. What do you mean by ethics? You just analyze what is wrong and what is right and do only the right thing. That is ethics. If it is wrong thing, don't do it. Simple as that. So if you can do that, it has to be brought or taught from our very young age, from the age when we are in school days. It's correct time, you are in school age now. Learn these ethics. You must know what is right. Your religion tells us what are the ethical things to do, how you read books, or in your curriculum, sometimes certain books you would have read. Then there are certain organizations like scouting and things like that. They teach you certain ethics. And also in your college, sometimes you have these assemblies. People address you and teach you about ethics. Your parents teach you about ethics. So definitely you know what is ethics. But if nobody teaching you, at least your common sense and your conscience says what is right and what is wrong. Whether I can do this or not do it. When you ask your mind, it says if you do it is wrong, then don't do it. Simple as that. You learn to do that habit. Like what I said earlier, when you spend money, I told you about the cost and benefit analysis. Like that, in ethics, action and consequences. Think what action if you are going to do, what will be the consequence. Now you jump the the color light, no policeman is there. Sometimes there may be a camera, and you can get a ticket from the traffic department. So why do you want to do the wrong thing? Consequences, action and consequences. Or in science, they say action and reaction. Newton's theory. Action, simple as that. Action and reaction. Every action has a reaction. So similarly, action, good things you do, you get good results. You do bad things, you get bad results. So always analyze the consequences of doing something. Then automatically you will have ethics in your life.
Okay. What's the difference between personal ethics and professional ethics?
Yes. Personal ethics, I told being honest.
Yeah.
Don't tell lies, being honest and trying to be good to others, don't speak harsh to others, things like that. So that you have to develop from a very young age. So personal ethics, you have those things. And you have to develop that from the very young age. I told you that is the basic foundation for your character. So once you develop that personal ethics in your lifestyle, sometime when you go for some official matters, now we have been told to be kind, no, we have been always ethics, you have to love your people, other people, show empathy. Okay, now you have got a job. Now there you find one person has robbed some money and you feel, ayo, I have been learned about this personal ethics, that you have to be kind to people. You call him and say, why did you do like this? Don't do this. It won't work. You have official conduct. There are official ethics. Yeah, you have to take some action. You have to take action. So you should not mix personal ethics with official ethics. Now, personal ethics, you say that, not to tell lies. Now, see, even I have found some families, even children, the parents, now see, when some neighbor asks something, when the father is inside the house, but the mother says, tell Tati Nagi. Because either she wants to see the husband not disturbed, or this man is a problem case, he comes and disturbs unnecessarily. So they teach the children, our uncle out, Tati Nagi. So they get used to this. sometimes parents themselves are teaching the wrong ethics to the children, right? Sometimes we have certain things you tell you don't have, right? So that sort of ethics we learn at home that can also affect. But what we do is when we learn good ethics, we have to learn good ethics at home. That is the place you have to start your life. Then you go to school, there you learn certain ethics, discipline and respecting the teachers, respecting the elders. You learn those things. And you should never much understand your teachers. Your teachers are your teachers for lifetime. You can become even the biggest position in the country. You can come to hold the biggest position in the country, but still the fact remains that you have been a student of this particular teacher. So when you see the teacher on the road, you must immediately respect them. That sort of attitude, the ethics, very important, develop very important. So personal ethics, you should not give up when things come to, but same thing when it comes to official ethics. Now, if your teacher comes and if he asks you to do something wrong or something which your department rules or your job description doesn't allow, don't try to do it. So you have to understand clearly, have a demarcation or understand the difference between personal ethics and official ethics. So official ethics are given as rules and regulations in your job. So when you go to a job, you will know. There's your job description, your regulation, there are internal regulation. If you are a government servant, there's a thing called administrative regulation, financial regulation, then there's a thing called establishment code like that. And in private sector, they have certain job description and your responsibilities, your duties and responsibilities. They'll get a letter signed by you sometime, giving the list of the duties, what you are doing and your responsibility. So you have to go by that. So you can't mix that with your personal, right? Just because now see your personal ethics, sometimes you feel, they say don't associate with bad people. Now see you are working in a, now see for example, you are working in a bank. You know that this fellow is a drunkard, right? You know him from the gamma that he is a real drunkard and bad guy, but he comes to the bank. You can't tell my personal ethics, I have been taught not to associate with bad people. Don't step into my office. Or if he comes to open an account, you can't say, no, I don't want to open an account for you. You are a bad guy. You can't tell like that. So personal ethics and official ethics, you must not mix it. You have to, personal ethics you must have in your personal life. Official ethics you have to follow in the official life. So you must know how to strike a balance. Sometimes you may not like that person, but still official ethics is that you have to treat that person well and do something, some service, offer some service to him, you have to do it. So that is a very important thing. Know clearly what is a personal ethics and know very clearly what is your official ethics and strike a balance. Yes, please.
Okay, okay, doctor, can you tell me vividly what is the true meaning of happiness?
Now, happiness, like I said, happiness is a state of mind. Sometimes we do certain things, activities, which is pleasant for us, but it is not really happiness. Now, a lot of time we fail to understand this very subtle difference between happiness and pleasantness. Certain things, even in official ethics also, there are certain things which what we try to do is pleasant, but not, it's not something, it doesn't really give happiness. Now, for example, when a person, I'm just giving an example, when a person who is smoking, when he's smoking, he has a very pleasant feeling, but it's not the real happiness. He thinks that he is happy to do that. So we must, that's why very important, wisdom is very important in our life. Wisdom comes from wisdom is not the book knowledge. How much degrees we may have, if we don't have, other thing is the common sense. A lot of people lack common sense. Unfortunately, this common sense, the word common sense is now become a very rare commodity. A lot of people don't have common sense. And we mix up our priorities. We think that, we do certain things which is giving pleasantness to us, but really not happiness. So we must understand the subtle difference between what is happiness and what is pleasant. Sometimes you eat a good meal, it's very pleasant. You eat, this pizza, you buy a good pizza and eat, it's pleasant, but it's not good. It's not, when I say happiness, it's going to create unhappiness because you are going to fall sick. So when you fall sick, you eat too many pizza, you fall sick, then you go to the doctor and he says you have cholesterol, you have a blocked artery, or you have that and this and all, then you are unhappy. So that pleasantness what you got, now you start unhappy and you are worried. So that's why the subtle difference between pleasant thing, doing something which is pleasant, and whether it brings the real happiness. So if you understand that subtle difference between pleasantness and happiness, then we will do. Now see, certain things when you do, we are really happy. But sometimes it's a blend of both. Now see, when you help a person, poor person, it's bringing pleasantness to that person. He is also happy. You are also happy. So that's why you must really go deep into whatever actions that we do. It doesn't, when I say analyze everything, every action what you are doing, don't think that, if I sit and think like this, my God, everything what I do every day, if I start analyzing like this, doctor said, analyze whether it is good or bad and whether cost and value analysis and whether it's pleasant or happy. It doesn't take so long. Our brain is the most efficient computer in the world. In matter of seconds, it gives the result. So do this analysis. Always I said, whatever things that we do, cost and value analysis. Now, when you are spending, if you do that, it gives, sometimes it's pleasant, have a big TV, pleasant, and you think that you are happy. But ultimately, when you go on paying the bank loan and all those things, you find you are unhappy because your income is affected. So strike a balance between happiness and pleasantness and do that analysis in all your activities. Then you will have the difference, subtle difference between happiness and pleasantness. And it doesn't mean that whatever things which are pleasant to you brings happiness. That should be understood very clearly.
All right, doctor. Can you explain us how to balance pleasure and pain?
Okay. Sometimes you find, you go to these particularly Hindu temples. You see, there are certain whale time, this whale time and all. You would have seen these people on this, they put these needles into their skin and all, and they hang them on this one.
Hanging there.
That fellow is very happy. Very happy doing it, but the amount of pain that he's undergoing, he doesn't realize. So it's a very, again, I told you, it's a state of mind. Sometimes we really feel that, what we do is particular temple rituals and all, if you take and see, my goodness, I have seen, and sometimes I really feel how they can do it. Now, when I'm walking on the road, sometimes the slight small thorn pricks, we feel so bad and so, out of place and so unhappy, but these people are happy. Yeah. So, we really...
They walk on fire, isn't it?
Yeah, they walk on fire. People walk on fire. Yeah. They put all these needles into their skin and all. And it's actually it's again a state of mind. It's the certain time the beliefs or the orthodox type of beliefs. Yeah. Sometimes it controls our actions, but my advice to people is, particularly students, don't experiment into things whether it will bring any happiness from a certain pain. That type of I will not advise anybody to sort of to experiment with this type of things, whether any type of pain can bring some happiness. There are people, my goodness, you go and see certain things. It's not, you can't just believe it, but I get really scared when I look at these things. But sometimes people can get carried away, sometimes they feel that I also want to do it and see. Don't try to experiment such things, because such people who are doing it, they are under a certain deep sense of belief on certain religious beliefs or things like that. But particularly students at this age, never ever try to experiment in anything where it creates a pain for you, thinking that whether it can bring any happiness to you. Yes.
All right, doctor. So as a last question of the day, since we are running out of time, I'm pretty sure that this question will help many. I'll forward the question to you. How to prevent disappointments in our life?
Yes, that's a very important question. Honestly, to tell you frankly, disappointments is again part and parcel of our life. What we expect doesn't happen. Even for me, for example, I wanted to become a doctor when I was a 19-year-old boy. But I missed my medical faculty by 7 marks because again, I made a mistake of certain, my actions. I did wrongly. I mean, my concentration was on studies or distracted by certain things, and I missed by 7 marks. So, but I didn't leave it. I was some more determined that my passion, because my passion for medical field was there so much that I thought one day I will achieve. And I was very persevering that I would always try to do something. But so that is a what you call ambition, and it's a desire satisfaction. But whatever desire, main thing is our life, the happiness or whatever it is, everything comes from our own actions. So the most important thing is when we, in my father always says, don't try to bite more than what you can chew. And he tells me another thing is, don't try to run before you can walk. First you have to crawl, then you have to walk, and then only run. So most of the time we try to do things like this, all instantaneous now, because the things are, it's so quick, the technical advancement, so many things you can do quickly. Now see, for a day, nowadays more than the COVID and more than the dengue, what is the biggest death toll in this country? What?
Device addiction, maybe?
No.
Technological addiction?
No. Deaths. I'm talking about death. Cause of death in this country.
The death. No idea.
Road accident.
Road accident. We call
Accidents,
it RTA.
yeah.
Road traffic accident.
Yeah.
Medical term, we call it RTA, road traffic accident. For a day now, average 12 to 15 people are dying. Why is that? The technical advancement, vehicles those days, maximum speed, Morris Minor car or something can go is 50 miles per hour. Now, straight away, when you press the accelerator, within 8 to 10 seconds, you can reach 70, 80 kilometers per hour. So speed, the passion for speed, the passion for fast life, go fast, that type of desires, actually these desires, wrong desires are the cause of our big problems. So desire, we must have, again, I was using the word ceiling of desire because one of the saints known to me, he always tells ceiling on desire. If you put a ceiling on your desire, then all the problems are solved. Now, those days, honestly, I was very fond of sweet things. I like these ice creams. I like to eat nice sweet biscuits, things like that. But the day the COVID started, because of the fear for these immune systems, sweet things effect, I totally stopped eating sweet things. Not even a sugar in my coffee or tea or coffee. From March 2020, I have not touched sugar in my life. So that is a very hard decision, but situations made us to. So that's why the wisdom is very important when to control our desires. Now, if I tell a young boy, if I tell this to my son, I don't eat sugar, he'll say, Tati, I'm mad. Because different, the same rule doesn't apply to everybody in the same manner. It changes or differs from person to person. So if my son wants to study and do something more studies, if I go and tell him, what you have is enough, don't waste your time, he'll tell, but you have studied so much. I had the desire, but I was doing it in a very, very relaxed pace. Online studies, relaxed pace over the years. Now, my last exam I sat in 2019. Still, the result has not come because that is at home. I am doing nothing, so I am just doing some studies. So that's a different story. So the desires are the main cause of all our problems. So if you have a ceiling on desires, it's good to have desires. It's good to have ambition. Say desires, ambitions are good. As students, you must have ambition, but you should not aspire to do something beyond your capacity, beyond your. When I say capacity, whether it is the economic capacity, whether it's your family capacity, whether your knowledge capacity. Now, see, I am qualified in so many fields, but I am not very good in IT. Even this MS Teams, after Chamari told only, I installed in my laptop and started doing it. But my wife, she is a teacher. She is doing Zoom for the past 1 year. So when she told about, I said, no, I am not interested. There was no necessity. So actually the necessity, they say it's a mother of inventions, right? So when necessity comes, we do, but the necessity, it should be something, the desire stemming out of coming any desire, it should be out of necessity. We must eat, but That's a necessity, but the desire to eat, what to eat, the desire, the choice is ours. If you go on eating pizza every day, you will end up sick. With my desire, I am supposed to eat now, so I won't eat pizza all 3 meals. What will happen? So this is where we must understand the difference between the necessities in our life and the choices available to us and how to control the desire. The necessity is also sometimes stemming out of desires. But now see, at students, now children are studying from home, the necessity for a tab or a iPad is something is a necessity, but all these years it was not a necessity. So naturally, when they ask, you had to buy it. So that is a necessity. But if my mother-in-law, who is a 80-year-old person, lady, if she asks me, Pata, can you have bought and given a tab for my daughter, why can't you give me a tab? I'll say, Auntie, are you mad? So we must know when we desire for something, whether it is really out of sheer necessity, and unless it is really necessary, we must control our desires. And if you know to strike a balance between the desires and our impulsive buying and contentment in our life, we will be always happy. I always tell people, ceiling on desires, and always think of others. Now, see, when you are eating very high rich food, think of others who doesn't have. So many people are starving. So he can, there's a saying I follow. He says, sacrifice and give. Now you have money, but your extra money you give, it's pintamai. But when you sacrifice and give, now see, if I am eating pizza, say once a week, or sorry, once every month, once a week, if I cut it down to once a month, and that money, if I can give it to a poor fellow, then that is real worth. And also when we give also, we must know the person who is receiving is a real true guy. Now see, last week I saw a fellow, he used to come in crutches, and I have seen him on the road. Evening when he goes, he is brisk walking, fast walking. He walks faster than me. So when he came into our road to beg, I told this man is a crook. He is just carrying the crutches to create sympathy. So that sort of people I don't give. So I always, so when you give also, when you do ping also, you must give it to the correct people. When you give, you have to give it to the correct people. And when we spend, we have to have control our desires, ceiling on our desires, try to help others, think of others with empathy. And when we do things with ethics, whatever things we do, we must do with ethics. Then that is the ingredient for happiness. Anything else?
Well, thank you, Dr. Kumara. Your explanation was on point, and I'm sure many of us gained some knowledge on how to improve our lifestyle through a satisfied level of well-being, and to look at things in a different aspect, especially the obstacles which let us down. Would you like to offer a chance to the ones who would like to speak to you by giving a convenient way of contacting you?
Yes. Chamani has my mobile number, my WhatsApp number. Anybody wants to speak to me, my mobile number is there, 0777 499 849. I'll repeat that, 0777 499 849. You can call anytime. If I don't answer, that means I am involved in some other thing. You can always leave a message. I will definitely come back to you. And my WhatsApp number is 0778 1322. That I use for counseling online. And if, sometimes people like to see face to face and talk, then we have more interaction. Sometimes the face contact or the eye contact is very important. Now see, if I am talking without seeing my face, if I'm just lecturing, you will feel bored. But when you have the eye contact with people, it gives more confidence and it gives more satisfaction. So video calls also I do. So if I am free, I will definitely answer, and definitely I will help you. And I am a person who doesn't look at payment. I am not looking at earning money. I am fully contented in life. I am financially fully satisfied, and I want to help people become happy and contented in life like me. So anybody can call me. If I don't answer, leave a message. Definitely I'll come back to you. 0777 499 849 for mobile numbers and WhatsApp 0778 132244.
Great. It was good to hear, and thank you. Yeah.
I'm always available to anybody seeking my help. And always my advice to you, anybody, is don't suffer in silence. Unfortunately, a lot of people are suffering in silence. Always talk to someone. Talk to someone. If you are, like I said, first your students, particularly students, your parents, your first source of support. If the parents are too busy, your grandparents. If your grandparents are not available, some relatives, elderly relatives. If they are not available, good friends. If you don't have such good friends, people like me. But don't suffer in silence.
Okay, doctor. Yeah. Thank you so much for your kind words, and thank you so much for your valuable time and knowledge which you shared with us today. And let me take a moment to thank the school management for organizing this event and everybody who joined with us today. Hope you all had a fruitful session. Keep in mind, caring for the mind is as important and crucial as caring for the body. In fact, one can be healthy without the other. Stay safe and have a good day ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity given to share my experience with you all. And I think I have been able to share some valuable points. Hope it will be helpful.
Sure, doctor. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hope it will be helpful.
Sure, doctor. Thank you so much.